Hello and welcome everyone to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I have got a game from the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship, and it is between Grubby and Acer Nerchio. So these are two top-notch players. The map is Shakura's Plateau. It is the tournament version of the map, although there isn't actually a supply depot to prevent a wall off, so a bit odd, but nonetheless this should be a great game. It is the group stages of the IEM World Championships, and I mean, obviously, if you haven't been watching these, do check them out. They're absolutely fantastic. Obviously, if you do want to comment on the games or anything like that, and on my Twitter, make sure you hashtag IEM, just because obviously the more people who mention the Intel Extreme Masters, the more promotion esports gets as a whole, and that's absolutely fantastic. So, Shakura's Plateau, we have got Grubby up here in the top left position as the blue Protoss player, and we have also got Nerchio as the red Zerg player in the bottom right. Now it does look like Grubby's going to be going for that Forge Fast Expand build, or at least a Fast Expand of some kind, purely because Shakura's Plateau really does favour it, because you've got this quite narrow ramp. You can happily wall off and get cannons up and be safe for a long time. Now the issue is that for a Zerg player, a common follow-up to a Protoss player who goes for the Forge Fast Expand is to take your natural and also your third very quickly, but there's kind of two options for a third on Shakura's Plateau. You can take a third here, but you're then quite exposed to the central ground, and likewise you can take this third up here, but you're then very far away and exposed to drops and airplays, so it can be a bit difficult, and it'll be interesting to see how Nerchio deals with it. He is going for the pool first build, which is obviously the safe thing to do, and you will see that Grubby is getting his Forge down, so it will be a Forge Fast Expand. That drone for Nerchio is going to come in and really just prevent that Nexus going down for a little while. It'll be interesting to see whether Grubby does actually choose to go for the Nexus before cannon play. I suspect he will, purely because he has got this pylon down and he's blocking the base of Nerchio. But Nerchio may just follow up with 6 Zerglings, but again they won't get in very easily because it's so easy to wall this off, and Nerchio actually did a double extractor trick there, so slightly unusual, just to get those 6 drones out and the queen as well. Now the Zerglings are going to come out and basically take out this pylon very quickly, but obviously Nerchio does need to take that third base ASAP, and this probe could actually be coming up here to put some cannons down, or even just a pylon, which would prevent that third base for quite a while. And obviously the longer that third base is delayed, the better. I mean, Nerchio is very high on minerals, obviously just tracking down his natural base now, but isn't going to be able to take down that third base quite yet, and this drone will actually die if it engages, so it'll be interesting to see whether Nerchio does decide to pull back those Zerglings, but instead just going for it. Anyway, he's not going to get through. It's completely walled off. The probe has completed the wall off, and there's the cannon. And this just shows how effective Forge Fast Expands are on Shakura's Plateau. There are some maps where they're harder to put off, but on this map it's easy. So straight away you will see again Grubby is just putting another pylon down. Now for those of you who don't know, Grubby was actually a last minute change to the lineup at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. He was switched in for another player who couldn't attend, so Grubby has had no time to prepare effectively, only literally a few days to get used to things, get tournament ready. So I mean, the sheer fact if he holds his own will be impressive. I mean, I don't think even Grubby himself, obviously he wants to go ahead because it's for $35,000 first place, but I mean, Grubby just really filling in a spot and being an amazing guy just for that reason alone. Now you will see that Nerchio has now got all 3 of his bases down, or all 3 of his bases on the way. His second base is now finished, and his third base is about a third done. And these Zerglings are doing the perfect thing. They're just scouting all around the top of this base to make sure there's no pylons for warpins or cannons. Meanwhile, if we take a look at Grubby's base, I mean, he's only got the 1 gas, so this isn't going to be any kind of tech play quickly. He's getting out that warp gate tech and is chrono boosting it, so it will come out very quickly. Meanwhile, I mean, just more zealots coming out, not even trying to take any more gas yet, and this is quite late for the gas. And if we take a look, I mean, Nerchio just droning, taking his first 2 gas now. His third base will be finishing momentarily, and then obviously he just wants to drone as much as he can, and you are safe as a Zerg player against the Forge Fast Expand. You are very safe until sort of the 7.5 all the way up to kind of the 9-minute mark, depending on what you scout. And here we will see Grubby grabbing 3 more warp gates, so that will take him to 4 gate, and it'll be interesting to see whether he builds more. He may go anywhere between there's 5, it could be anywhere between 5 and kind of 7 gate pressure. Obviously, the more gates, the more all-in it is, but obviously, Nerchio has absolutely nothing in the way of tech as of yet. He's got the lair on the way now, but there is only just starting the Roach Warren, and we will probably actually see a Evolution Chamber. There we go. So that's a very, very common timing. Roach Warren, Evolution Chamber. It makes you safe to air, and also means that you can start getting those upgrades. Now, this one Stalker will be able to pick off the Zergling, because Zergling's speed isn't even started yet at the 7-minute 40 mark, and we have actually got 2 pylons coming in here. Now, this could be very, very good. If Grubby can get these off, it'd be absolutely amazing, but this Overlord will scout it, so 10 Zerglings are on the way, as you can see, for Nerchio, and obviously this will get taken out pretty easily, unless some cannons get down, which I doubt. This Overlord is giving great vision, although having said that, oh no, Nerchio is going back, so this pylon will have to be forced to cancel, but we may actually see some warpings. Yeah, there we go, so 5 Zealots straight away coming in, that's Stalker in as well, and I mean that will clean up all of those Lings. There are 7 Roaches on the way now for Nerchio as well. He's also getting 2 Spine Crawlers at that 3rd base, but nothing in his main, and there is actually a probe for Grubby in Nerchio's base itself, and I mean this is a lot of units. Those spines will finish very shortly, will force it back. But I mean, Zealots are incredibly good against Spine Crawlers. They just literally melt them, as you can see. If I hide those bars there, you'll see they just literally melt down so quickly. But Roaches are also up as well. The Queen is going to get focused down. Will go down, which is obviously exactly what Grubby's aiming to do. But he's committed a lot to this attack, and he's warping into the natural here as well. And this is really why taking that 3rd base up and splitting the map vertically is quite dangerous, because it splits up your army. Although Nerchio just doing a great job of dealing with those Zealots, and now just picking off these pylons as well. Here comes a Stalker in, and I mean that probe has been seen by Nerchio, so will get taken out. And I mean that was good defense by Nerchio. He took very little losses. If we take a quick look, only 2 workers killed, and I mean the actual loss tab itself shows Grubby really came off worse there. Over 1,000 minutes behind, and now Nerchio has that 3rd base up very safely, and he's pretty well defended. Now, in a bit of a desperation move, we have got a Dark Shrine coming out for Grubby. That is really, he's cancelling though actually. I mean, a Dark Shrine would have been a good choice there, purely because he could have, well, done some harassment, but Spore Crawlers are coming out, and that's really in preparation for air, although there isn't actually a Spore Crawler in the main base at all. So now here we see Grubby is remaking that, and it was because this Overseer was coming in, so absolutely great play by Grubby there. Will he cancel that Dark Shrine again? Because obviously if it is scouted, it'll be absolutely useless, but that Stalker doing a great job of keeping it away. Now, if these Dark Templar do get out, and they are used effectively, it could really put Grubby in a strong position. But, I mean, the 3rd base is no-go purely because of that Spore Crawler, but the other 2 bases don't have anything in regards to detection. I don't actually think there's even a Overseer there anywhere, so this could be really strong. But obviously that Dark Shrine does seem to take an eternity to build when you really do need it. And Grubby just cannoning up the front. 3 cannons are at the front, an Immortal, and those sentries, so there is just no way a push is going to be effective from there. And again, Grubby being amazing with his Stalkers, just positioning them, preventing this Overlord scouting. But you will see 9 Mutalisks are on the way now for Nerchio, and Dark Templar aren't very strong against Mutalisks because they can't fly. And if anyone from Blizzard is watching, don't make Dark Templar fly. It would be horrible. It would be every Zerg's player's worst nightmare. But anyway, if you do see here, you will see great use of the creep spread from the Overlords just to join up the 3rd and natural base. A macro hatch is also on the way now. Baneling Nest and a lot of Zerglings, and here really comes the push. There's just going to be so many units. I mean, Grubby is 100 supply behind. He is trying to take his 3rd base, but it's not going to go down. There's just too much stuff. Meanwhile, those Dark Templars are going to go in, but that Spore Crawler will spot them, and they will go down ever so quickly. And they are going to try and focus down the Spore Crawler, but 1 Dark Templar already dies, just trying to pick off any drones he can. And I mean, all of the army for Nerchio is pulled back to deal with this, and that did not do enough damage. Meanwhile, we've got Mutalisks coming in, and someone left the game, so I think that must have been due to lag or something. But as you see here, this Mutaflock is going to be forced backwards by just a couple of Stalkers and Sentries. But I mean, 4 more on the way, plus 1 air attack is also going to be finished up. Speed is coming slightly late for Nerchio at the 13-minute 40 mark. You tend to see it slightly earlier than that, but Still, in this matchup, you don't need speed that early. As shown by Nerchio, you can defend everything earlier and use your gas to tech and get mutas. Now, I mean, this is a huge push coming in. There's even a great flank of roaches here as well, so those roaches will get spotted by the pylon though. And I mean, really, Grubby's got to commit somewhere. What he does now is going to be absolutely huge. There's just so many units coming in from literally everywhere. And I mean, I don't think Grubby's going to be able to hold this. There's just too many mutalisks and not enough stalkers. Those cannons will help, but I mean, there's just so many mutas, more on the way as well. If you take a look up in the main base, there's no cannons here at all. This mineral line is going to get completely destroyed, and there's just nothing Grubby can do about it, because there's no cannons there, and if he moves his army, his third base will get killed as well. So really, these mutalisks can just go to town. All of these production facilities for Grubby are almost certainly going to fall. And it doesn't even seem like there's much in the way of counterattacks going on. I can't see anything Grubby's got. He's just having to sit back and hope this third base will carry him over. But now the stalkers are moving up and will finally force these mutalisks back. I mean, if you look at Nerchio, it's 191 supply to 112, and Nerchio, even trying to pick off a couple of sentries, does successfully get a few. That pylon will also go down as well, and the stalkers are just trying to chase after it, and they are +2 attack stalkers, but the mutalisks are now +1. More mutas are on the way, and if you just look at the size of this army for Nerchio, it's absolutely huge. 199 supplies, so maxed out effectively, +2 air attack, +1 ground carapace. There is a warp prism moving in, which wasn't spotted, but it won't make much difference. Just so much stuff, and Nerchio just going for the full-on attack at the front of the base. And there's just so much stuff here that there's literally no way it can be held, I don't think. Grubby would have to pull out something completely amazing, trying to shoot from that high ground. But I mean, there's just so much stuff here purely for Nerchio that he can afford to have a bad trade, because if you look at his money in the top right, he just has so much available to him that he can really just badly trade as much as he wants. And obviously, killing this second base for Grubby means his economy is going to be shot. Meanwhile, I believe I saw a Dark Templar warping in, but where exactly that is, I do not know. Is it even on the field still? No, so if there was a warp in of a DT, it has been killed during that engagement, but this warp prism is coming in, and it's looking ominous, because obviously a drop in the main, there's no detection around. If there was a DT drop, it would be hugely effective, but just keeping an eye on the movement of Nerchio's army, and this is great position, and here comes the DTs. They are going to get morphed in, but if you see this big red ball, I mean, there are just so many mutas. I don't think it'll even matter if this spire does get sniped down, because just look at the number of mutalisks. There is a grand total of 27 on the field already, with 2 more on the way, and this base is just going to get completely destroyed. And +2 is cancelled because the spire was obviously sniped. Those DTs have been picked up, and I mean, Grubby's actually getting his way back into this. He's still a long way behind, but he is not out for the count yet by any means. And these mutas are coming back to deal with this warp prism. And I mean, that's going to die very quickly. And there is an overseer as well, and there's just so many banelings and zerglings that there's no way that is going to do any more damage at all. And that warp prism has completely vanished. There we go. So the warp prism is on its way in now. Should be able to escape, and may even be able to harass the 3rd or 4th base. The 5th base as well for Nerchio is on its way. Meanwhile, Grubby trying to rebuild his natural, got no probes up at the main base, and I mean, most of his units are around this 3rd base, which is his only lifeline. If you take a look at the unit counting station, it's 38 probes to 73. Now, when you're in that sort of position, you have to do something amazing, and really the trick card there is to try and do warp prism DT drops, and that warp prism has now just been taken out. And to be honest with you, unless Grubby does something extraordinary, I don't think he's going to be able to hold this at all, because there's just so much stuff. There's so many mutalisks. If you take a look here, there's only a handful of stalkers. There's actually more blinking in now, but still, there's just so much stuff. And Nerchio looks like he's going for the counter-attack, but Grubby's been fooled by that already, morphing in that DT, but some zerglings do get through, and there is no detection at all, so those DTs can go to town. But there's just so many banelings, so many mutalisks, and the banelings actually surrounding the stalkers, and a great blink out by Grubby, doing absolutely brilliant micro, trying to make the most of the little forces he has. But meanwhile, these mutalisks are just going to completely destroy that natural base yet again, and just move backwards. 64 more zerglings are on the way now for Nerchio. Now up to 72, so just so much stuff, and great forward blinks by the Stalkers, but I think there's just too many Mutalisks, and the Mutalisks are obviously only +1, +2 hasn't been restarted yet. And I know there is a Spire around here somewhere because he's building Mutalisks. There we go. But +2 hasn't been restarted yet. Great blink micro, but obviously the Stalkers are way out of position. There's just so many Zerglings streaming in here. They could absolutely decimate the mineral line. Stalkers blinking again, but this third base getting targeted down. The Zerglings and Mutalisks are going for the Stalkers because they have managed to separate a few of them. And obviously that's clearing up Grubby's army. And I mean, I think Grubby's going to have a hard time holding this push because there's just so much stuff for Nerchio. Although the cannons look like they will be able to help, but obviously Grubby has now lost his third base. He's got no natural, he's got hardly any minerals, and he's pretty much mined out as his main. So really, this is just a sit and wait game for Nerchio. He can max up on pretty much whatever he wants to. As you can see, he's building this wall of spine crawlers. He's got an amazing defense position. He's got those 5 bases out. He's got a macro hatch, and he's doubled the supply count of Grubby. So Grubby is going to go for it because it is his only option. He doesn't have enough money, and there's a great attack from behind. So many Baneling streaming in, and literally everything just getting killed by these Baneling build. And there's the GG from Grubby. Absolutely great game. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm now going to cast game 2 of this series. So I hope you did enjoy it, and please follow me on Twitter at SC2_England for all my latest games. And obviously, if you do comment on this game at all, hashtag IEM for Intel Extreme Masters to raise their profile as well, and also the profile of esports. Thanks for watching.